My name is Sarah. Welcome to my video for my 2026 plan to pan and my 2025 panning goals recap. I'm going to talk about all of the goals that I managed to complete that I set out to do in the beginning of the year, and I'm also going to tell you about the goals I am planning for myself next year. If you don't know what panning is in the makeup world, it's when you intentionally try to hit the bottom of the makeup product. So when you hit the bottom and you see the pan, that would be hitting pan. So it's just a fun little thing that I and many others like to do to work on maybe makeup they've neglected or finish up products intentionally that may be getting older and that we just want to use before they go bad. So if all that sounds good to you, just keep watching. So I'm going to start off with the recap for my 2025 panning goals. And the first thing I had on that list was to use all of my Super Shocks at least once. At the time, I think I had 49 individual shades, and I have really culled that down to get rid of duplicate shades and all that kind of thing. And I am down to 39 individual shades now. And I gave a lot of those to my sister-in-law, who also gave them to a few of my cousins-in-law. Anyway, I have less than I did before, which is really great, but I actually did use every single shade, even the ones that I decluttered before I gave them away. And that really helped me actually discover which shades were practically identical. And now I have a little less, which is a good feeling, and I know that my sister-in-law is really enjoying them. Also, she is a broke college student, so I'm sure she is loving the free makeup I've been giving her in the last couple months. So just a visual representation of what that looks like. I have 2.5 of these bins full of Super Shocks now, and when I mentioned individual shades, some of them have 2 shades, so I'm counting each one, each individual shade in here as their own separate shade. So I used all my Super Shocks, including both shades of these double ones. And I actually just completed that goal yesterday. I wore the last Super Shock that I needed to complete that goal, which is why I'm filming today, because I finished it yesterday. The next goal I had for myself the beginning of this year was to hit pan in my ColourPop Pressed Powder Blush in the shade Sassy Pants. And I finished that goal really fast, actually. And here is what it's looking like today. I'm pretty sure I completed that goal in maybe February or March. It was really soon after I rolled it in. I think I only used it maybe like 30 more times before I hit pan, and it was a lot smaller then, but I used it more since then, so now there's that nice little shiny pan. And this is my favorite blush shade that I have. It's just, it works with everything. I'm not in any kind of rush to pan it to completion, and it's only about 1.5 years old in my entire makeup collection anyway, so that one will be sticking around for the foreseeable future. The only goal that I did not complete in my goals for 2025 was to use up a Super Shock, and the shade that I selected was this one called Sailor. I have to be kind of careful because I tried to repress this and it's kind of crumbly, but obviously it's not completed. I actually didn't get too far in this shade because it competes with a shade from my Pan That palette, which is my last goal, which I'll talk about shortly. But there is a shade called Moonstone in the palette that is basically a dupe to this. And so I thought I would rather work on the shade in my Pan That palette than try to complete this year at least. That being said, this is one of my favorite Super Shocks because it is just so easy to wear. It is a like kind of beigey neutral, but it has tiny pink and blue glitters. Not chunky glitters by any mean, it's very fine, but it's just a really beautiful, goes with everything kind of shade. And the last goal that I had for myself was to do a year-long Pan That palette with this ColourPop So Jaded palette. It has 28 shades in it. It originally had 30, but 2 of them were glitters, so I removed them. And we are very close to the end of this project, but I am so proud of all I've accomplished with this. This is my very first Pan That palette, and I've just been having so much fun with it. I don't think there'll be any spoilers by showing you this, or at least not that you can see. But here is what it's looking like, and I'm filming on December 8th. I don't know if I showed what it looked like in my intro, but it is definitely well loved now, and I'm very happy with all of the progress I've gotten out of this palette. And I totally forgot to mention my last goal for 2025 that I am not sure if I'm going to hit, since this is still kind of the beginning of December. I wanted to use all of my ColourPop eyeliners 10 times each. These are just a couple of the shades, and I think I have 5 more shades that I need to reach the 10 use goal on. This is the one that's in my project pan right now, which I'm doing really well on, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to finish by my next update. But there are still 4 additional shades besides this one that need the 10 uses. And so that one will be like to be determined. But if I don't finish that goal by the end of this year, then I'm pretty sure I will be just fine finishing it in January. That is a wrap for my 2025 goals, and so now I'll move into the 2026 goals that I am setting for myself for next year. I am also planning on doing another Pan That palette. Next year's Pan That palette will be significantly smaller, but I will give you a little hint. It is also a ColourPop palette, and it is one of my favorites. It's one of my favorites. I'm not going to show you until the end of the year when I do my intro, but just know it is much smaller, and it's one of my favorites, and it's ColourPop again. The next goal I have for myself is to complete my e.l.f. Luminous Putty Blush in the shade Maui. This is a slightly shimmery blush. I think it's pretty neutral. It does have a very slight golden sheen, and it's just really perfect for what I've been liking lately. I really like a glowy cheek. I don't know if it's gonna even pick up on camera, but I do like this shade quite a bit, and I don't think I'll have any problem reaching for it. It's just that the shade is going on 3 years, and so I don't want it to go bad before I can finish it, and so I just want to finish it to completion. The next goal ties into this one. So when this is done, I have plans for the container because I don't have any other containers like it. And that next goal is to finish all my ColourPop Just a Tint lip balm lipsticks. I currently have 5. I started off with 8, and I panned 3 this year so far, and so these are the 5 I have left. I am currently working on the Strand, this pinky one, and I'm actually wearing that today paired with, hold on, I'm wearing it paired with my Essence Juicy Bomb. It just adds just a tiny bit of brown, and it makes it the perfect shade. I think this is a little too pink on its own, and so I'm really glad that I have this to balance it out a little bit and make it a little bit more wearable for me. So after the Strand is done, that pinky shade, I want to work on Z-Boys, which is this very neutral nudie tone one. I had a similar one called Gimme S'more, which is the very first one that I panned, but I'm getting a little tired of bright colors, so this is the one I want to do next, and that will be the beginning of the year, so like maybe January into February. And then when spring rolls around, I'm planning on panning, I think will be the most challenging one, Coral Kiss, which is a coral. It's pretty bright. I am planning to use like lip liners and other mixing lipsticks to make these more wearable on an everyday basis, just so that I can keep them rolling and keep getting empties on these. After Coral Kiss, I want to finish Cutie Fruity, which is another berry tone. I panned a different one called A Go-Go earlier this year, and I just wanted a break in between the berries. So this one will probably be end of summer, autumn, I'm guessing. And then the very last one will be the shade called Fast Forward, which is a deep plummy berry. Definitely more like on the purple side than Cutie Fruity. So once I finish all of the Just a Tints, I am planning on scraping like the leftovers, you know, that at the end of the lipstick, and there's still a bunch left in there. I'm planning on scraping them all out, putting them into this e.l.f. container, and using the leftovers as a cream blush. Probably for the whole next year, because that will last me a while. I hope it makes a nice color, by the way. I'm expecting it to make some kind of neutral berry-ish color, but I can probably make the shade work any way it leans, because I feel like I'm pretty good at making my products work for me, so I don't have any concerns about how it will turn out. So just to recap, finish all my Just a Tints, scrape out the leftovers, and then put them in this. That is a goal for next year. Thank you for sticking with me for that kind of rambling message. The next goal I have for my makeup panning is to start and do a year-long Pan Those Eyeshadows project, and I've actually already started it. My last video on my channel is my intro for Pan Those Eyeshadows. I am starting a little bit early because I will be gone next year for 3 weeks, and so I'm starting it a little bit more than 3 weeks now, but it'll even out, so it's fine. And these are the palettes that I have drawn from. I did it completely random, so 3 shades in each of these, or 1 shade in each of these palettes have been drawn, and if you didn't see that, make sure you go check it out. And my goal on those is to hit pan on each shade that I roll in, no matter how difficult they will be. And I actually forgot to mention all of my rules for my Pan Those Eyeshadows, so I will make sure to add those into my next update so that you are all aware of what my goals and my rules are for that project. The next goal has to do with my Super Shocks once again. I am not positive all the details and the nitty-gritty of exactly what I want to do, but I want to roll in Super Shocks to my project pan to either hit some kind of goal or to hit pan. I'm not positive. The goal would be somewhere between 15 to 20, or hit pan, which could be significantly more than 15 or 20 uses, so that's why I'm going like back and forth on that. But I would really like to include my Super Shocks into my project pan. And my very last goal for next year is to complete my Maybelline eyeshadow single in the shade Champagne Fizz. This is just a lid sitting shade for me. I've had it forever. I don't think it has a strong importance in my collection anymore because I have so many palettes with setting shades now. So I want to complete it to get out of my collection. Obviously, it has a huge pan already. I am not positive I'll be able to finish it in a year, just based on my other setting shade in my Pan That palette, but this is a much softer formula compared to the other one. In my Pan That palette, the one in my Pan That palette is much more firmly pressed. Blah. I am tripping on my words. This one is much more powdery. I think it's always been like that. I don't think it's an age thing. I have had this close to 10 years, which is another reason why I want to move it along, put her to rest. So anyway, when the new year starts, I will be adding this into my project pan. So those were all the goals that I had to talk about for next year. I am super excited for 2026. I'm ready to roll in a new Pan That palette. I am loving working on my Pan Those eyeshadows. If I didn't mention it before, I'm actually wearing that today. I'm wearing 2 of the shades. So if you are curious, make sure you go watch that video. Thank you so much for watching to the end, and I hope to see you around. Please make sure to like and subscribe if you liked this video, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye bye.